All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To The Show Baseball Podcast presented by ProspectsLive.com. I am your host, Andrew Parker, and today's episode, I have Alex McCoy on from the San Diego Padres organization. Alex is the 20th ranked prospect by MiLB.com in their system, and he is off to a fantastic start in 2026. He just won the Player of the Month award for his league there, and he's in Fort Wayne right now, and he is just absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. He was doing it last year as well. I had him on the podcast I think it was last September, and he was coming off a really, really good stretch, in low A when he was there at the time. So now he's in high A. He's doing just as well. So definitely a name to watch going forward, especially for you Padres fans out there. But before I shoot to the interview here, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please like and subscribe. YouTube channel, I'm trying to hit 600 subs. It's a newer channel there. I am trying my hardest. Anything is appreciated. So any help there, I greatly appreciate it. But without further ado, let me shoot you on to the interview with Alex McCoy. All right, Alex, second time on the program. I had you on last September. We were talking about, obviously, your hot stretch. You came back from that torn quad last year. And I know we were kind of talking about you settling in last year. But I want to talk about 2026 right now. You were just named Player of the Month for what you did there in Fort Wayne. I got to ask, how's it going? Like, how are you feeling at the plate?
Yeah, felt good. Well, feeling good at least. It was a spring training was a big work in progress. Just working on shortening my swing and working on approach and timing. And I think just making those adjustments, having that month in the spring, being able to do that and come into the season and be comfortable with just trusting the coaching and trusting my ability kind of helped out a lot in that first month. But yeah, I think felt really good. Obviously, that first month, and hopefully, going forward, just I can make the right adjustments, to keep it going.
Yeah, obviously, I don't know how much you really look at your stats and where you rank among minor league baseball, but you led the league in hits, doubles, slugging. That's one of the reasons why you were named Player of the Month. Do you pay attention to the numbers? Do you look at it and be like, "Ooh, I'm here"? How do you kind of use your stats?
Yeah, I know we have a news source called Matt Friars. They kind of report on the minor leagues. So I read that sometimes throughout the week, but I'm not really too invested in the stats. I mean, they're on the scoreboard of the games every night, so
it's kind of hard not to.
But I'm not sitting there studying, rankings where I list that in the league, kind of thing. But I do look at them if the Matt Friars says something about it, or during the game, if I'm in the box or going up to hit, but
Yeah, shout out Matt Friars. They do good coverage. I also look at their stuff as well on some of the guys, especially yourself. But was it important for you to get off to the start? I mean, obviously, it may have gone it possibly could have gone better than expected, or maybe this is what you thought. But how important is that for you to get off on the right note this year? Maybe even compared to last year, because you did deal with the injury.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Like you said, come off that injury and not having as many ABs last year. I think this year my main goal was to be healthy and just break camp with the team and just get at bats and be able to get up here and just be a part of the team and contribute to the team. I think being hurt last year and just coming in the back half obviously is important, but I think being on the team and early in the year kind of helps out as well. Just you get to build team chemistry and you're with the guys that you were with all spring, and it's just important to kind of have that pedestal to step on and have that stepping stone to going forward, and knowing that I did that, I can do it again. Just having stay consistent and just trust the process. So
I'm assuming while you were down in camp, and I think you may have alluded to it, one of your goals was most likely to break camp with Fort Wayne. And I did want to ask, it's now that you are in high A, this is your first taste at the level. What are you noticing about the I guess the change of scenery?
Yeah. the weather for one compared to Southern California, it's definitely
A little different.
It's rainy, cold, cloudy. Some days we'll get lucky, it'll be 70 degrees, but the travel is a lot more close than the California League as well. Most of our road trips are like 2 hours, 3 hours, and yeah, I think obviously competition wise, you have guys here who they'll throw 6 pitches and they'll throw all of them. And if like in low A, they'll have 6 pitches but only throw 2. So I think guys here are more polished, obviously on the mound, and if they throw their splitter for 1% of the time, they'll probably flip it in there, just to show it. So I think just that the pitching is a lot more tough here. I think it's if when you're doing well and they pick up on that, some weeks I went without seeing more than 3 fastballs. And
Wow.
So and now it's kind of changing back to seeing more fastballs and less off speed, and it just kind of varies, per AB. So that's been my kind of adjustment, going into this month is understanding, what obviously be on the fastball, but like, am I going to get more fastballs as AB? Am I going to get more off speed? So that's been a tough adjustment, coming into the month of May, but we're working through it. So
I know it might be easier said than done on like maybe repeating your performance from last month and obviously like having the month that you did, but how does one truly go from what you just did last month and trying to get, even close to what you were doing in the month of May? Like, I guess, like how are you going to go about that?
Yeah. Kind of like I said, the Keno and like approach, and, those 2-2, 3-2 counts, just strengthen the zone. I feel like coming off a month like that and me being a bigger dude, pitchers aren't going to want to throw to me, and I have to realize that myself in the box, and also knowing that like every AB I don't have to hit a home run or, do damage. I can take a walk, so I think just not getting sped up in the box and, slowing it all down. When it's the game slow, I think that's when I play best. And yeah, I think the main thing for me is just slowing it all down and understanding that, like, there are guys behind me and above me that, can, bring me in if I get on base. So just like playing team baseball, just trusting my teammates and all that good stuff. So.
Yeah, you just brought something up I wanted to ask about. I saw an interview you did maybe a couple days ago. It was just posted on Twitter yesterday, I believe. And I think whoever was asking you the question said something like, a guy your size isn't supposed to move the way that you do. That I think you had even said in the interview, you're 6'6", you're 277.
Yeah.
And you're playing a good outfield too. So it's like, I've only seen 2 guys like that size currently playing, like you, and there's a guy in the Red Sox system, Justin Gonzalez, that is doing the same thing out in Greenville. But how do you, like, I guess with your athleticism, like how do you stay, like, I guess, like moving the way you are? Because I couldn't even imagine if I was that size, I'd be moving like you do. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I'd say it's our strength coaches are really good. They make sure we obviously, we got lifts in, we got sprint work in, and placing the diet too. I came into one of our camps in the off season at 290 and didn't really feel too good. So just cut back on, obviously, carbs and eat a bunch of like, calories. And but yeah, I think the main thing is just the strength coaches. They're very keen on, sprint work and sprint form, and our nutritionists are very, everyone's at our fingertips where if we need help or we don't feel like we can move correctly, we can reach out to them any time of the day. So I think they do a good job in just being transparent and being there for us. If, we need to, we feel slow or we don't feel ourselves, we can always go to them and we can break down, our sprint form or, our body composition and all that good stuff. So,
I mean, it's I would never expect a guy your size to have, like, I mean, let alone any stolen bases, and you already have 5 this year. So
yeah,
you're obviously doing something right. They're doing something right. So kudos to all you guys on doing that and keeping you in playing form. So I'm telling you, if I was that size, man, I feel like I'd be the slowest guy on planet Earth. So it's tough. But yeah, so that also leads me into like a question I had as well. Obviously you go into your off season kind of on a high note after, like we talked about, you had the injury earlier in 25. You have like the good stretch in the season, and then you kind of go into your off season healthy and able to kind of build off of what you just did. So what did you use your off season for?
Yeah. So at the end of last year, went to Instruct in Arizona, so for like 3 weeks, and then I actually moved to Oregon. It was my girlfriend at the time, and then got engaged. So, yeah, got
Congrats,
engaged.
by the way.
Thank you. And then, yeah, spent time in Oregon. Is my first time in the Pacific Northwest, and it was cool. It was good. Lived in a small town called Grants Pass, so it was super laid back, super slow compared to Arizona, Baltimore, and all that stuff, like where I'm from, when I've been. So very relaxing. And I trained at the local high school. This guy there named Travis Osborne. He has his own fitness gym called Relentless Athletic Performance, and his son plays at Portland. So me and him, we'd go to high school. I mean, they had a hack attack and all that stuff. So we just hit there, and he's actually really helpful. There was some sprint stuff I need to work on, and there was a sprint coach at the high school as well, who they all kind of collab with the strength coaches in the Padres, and yeah, actually kind of worked out pretty well. So I spent time in Oregon, just able to obviously grow closer to my fiance's family. Well, now my wife. So I got married in January, but
congrats again.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, got time to do that and kind of relax and just kind of get back into baseball slowly. And then I spent time at strength camp this year, January camp, and I went to all the off-season camps as well. So that was nice, kind of go back and forth and get instruction. But yeah, that was my off-season. Got married, got engaged, got to take advantage of the small town and kind of relax. So yeah,
I'm telling you, you're not alone. It took me forever to start calling my, it was girlfriend, and then it was fiance, and then wife, and I'm just like, oh wait, like we actually are married now. I don't have to call you fiance anymore, or like whatever it is. So you're not alone on that one. It's I don't know. Sometimes I've been married over a year and a half, and I'm just kind of, oh yeah, we are married. That's my wife. Yeah, that's not my girlfriend anymore. But I don't know. Nothing really changed. But yeah, no, that's cool. Small town Oregon. Is that the first time you've ever been to Oregon out there?
Yeah, I actually went in January of 2025. Yeah, 2025. Earlier that year, before the season, for like a week. But that was my first time like staying there from October to January. So
okay. Yeah. Most guys in, I guess, around baseball, they would actually go the opposite way. They'd be like, we want to go somewhere warmer for the offseason to go train while it's the cold months, but you chose the other way around. But kudos to you, man, moving close to the family and all that on her side. So I totally understand how it is. Now that you have in-laws, it's like you got a whole other side of the family you got to get close with. So it's kudos to you, man. That's cool. So I guess I want to ask as well, going into this spring training, and I'm assuming it was a pretty healthy spring training. I know you kind of mentioned earlier that, some things you were wanting to accomplish, but how was the experience this time around, just coming off of a season like you did last year and maybe being around, like, I didn't know if you were able to like back up any big league games or anything, but how did your experience go down in spring training?
Yeah, spring training was fun. I got to back up 2 or 3 big league games, and yeah, that was a good experience. Just being in the dugout with like Tatis and Jackson Merrill, Machado, cool. All those guys, and got more familiar with the staff from the big leagues down, and just kind of people know your name, kind of know who you are, so I feel like the Padres do a good job in making sure whether you're a first rounder or a free agent, they're going to like know who you are, know where you're from. They're going to want to talk to you. And I think that's like one thing where the whole organization feels like one big family, and it's always a good feeling. No one, is too good, to be around or whatever the case is. So that's good. And me and my spring training group was fun too. I'm with all the guys now and here in Fort Wayne. So, it's pretty much a lot of guys from my draft class too. So, we're all pretty close, and we're having a lot of fun. And yeah, it was a good time. Arizona's so nice, and February, March. So enjoy that, enjoy the games, and we all know we're there just like tuning up for the season, getting ready for what matters. And spring training matters, obviously, but
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So it was a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, I love spring training. I know some people, like, especially like fans, like some people are like, I don't really care about it. Like, get me to the regular season, whatever it is. But I love it. It's the one time of the year where every single player, coach, staff, everybody's in the same building for like at least a month and a half.
Right.
So I love it. I know from a player's perspective, you guys are coming back all around each other for the first time in a few months, and it's got to be exciting.
Yeah.
I did want to ask as well, obviously, you kind of got a little bit of a taste, I guess, around like the big league staff and everything. And you mentioned something about, they kind of make you feel like you're there, no matter if you're an undrafted guy. You could be with first round picks, second round picks. Like, do you still use that like as a chip on the shoulder? Because I certainly would if I was in your position of like, hey, I'm an undrafted guy. I'm probably not supposed to be here right now, and I'm doing this. How do you look at that?
Yeah, I do. It's like I said, like, it's what fuels me every day. Like, I wasn't, I was not passed up on, but I was.
You were passed up, but
yeah, in a sense. But it's always in the back of my head that me being here, I was given an opportunity to be here, and I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity I'm given. So and. I even tell guys who came in, this past draft class who were, free agents. I'm like, hey, like, it's baseball. It's a business at the end of the day. If you get paid $4 million, $6 million, whatever, you're going to get, a lot more opportunity. But I was like, hey, like, if you don't break camp, if you are in Arizona when we're 3 weeks into the season, like, when your time comes, just make sure, like, you show up because they're going to give you opportunity. It's about you take it. And I've told a lot of guys that were free agents this year, and a lot of them are doing well. So, it's good to see that, a lot of free agents in the organization are, just balling out and, taking advantage of the opportunities. So it's fun to watch. And like I said, it doesn't matter, what round you go in or, as long, you're all in the same spot at some point, So, yeah.
Yeah. Nope, couldn't agree more. It's like I've been in a ton of AAA locker rooms over the last few years, and you got first round picks, you got undrafted guys, you got guys coming over from like, the Korean League coming over. Like everybody's coming from a different spot, and they're all in the same clubhouse and locker room.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter like your path as long as you're playing well and you make a name for yourself, and you certainly did. You're now, you're ranked 20th. I don't know if you like love prospect rankings or not, but I know a lot of people are into them, and now you're the 20th ranked prospect in the system, and it's a testament to you being an undrafted guy and working your way there. So very, very, well deserved.
Thank you.
All right, so I have like a 1.5 questions left here.
Yeah.
Since the last time I spoke to you, and I know you're a married man now, so sometimes your priorities and your off the field activities like for me, like you can't golf as much sometimes because the wife wants to do something or whatever it is. Have you picked up anything new? Like, are you any other off the field hobbies?
Actually, me and the wife went horseback riding. That's her favorite thing to do. When she was younger, she had horses. So it was a place like an hour and a half away. Then we went an off day, about an hour with horseback riding. It was fun. I rode a horse before, like a few years ago, like a long time ago. And but yeah, it was fun. I was a little scared because like horses get spooked and they tend to like take off, and mine did that and like ran about 5 feet. That was kind of
my heart would sink a little bit.
Yeah, but that was fun. We went to the zoo, kind of just exploring the area. I mean, we have like Indianapolis, Chicago, all kind of like 2 hours, 3 hours away. So
yeah,
I think we're gonna try to get to Chicago one of the weekends. But I think now it's more so just like exploring, making memories with her, and just taking it all in. Kind of like one day, I won't be able to be traveling around this much with baseball and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she can be a part of it, and I know like it's a grind for me as much as for her too. Just being away from her family and friends. So making sure that the time my holidays are spent with her. Just whether it's coffee shops or donut shops, ice cream, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So,
that's literally that's what me and my wife love doing is honestly, we love even just the area we live in. We're just hey, what restaurants have we not gone to yet? And it's we have a running list, and it's let's go we kind of make our plans around going to try a new place. And it's just there's something, there's a park right there or a hiking trail or something, let's go do that. But I don't know. It's my favorite thing to do since I got married. It's we're constantly just trying to go explore new places and stuff. So I love that actually. That's
yes, sir.
That was a good answer there. All right, Alex. I appreciate all the time. Obviously, wishing you best of luck going forward here in 2026. Sure. But thank you again for doing this.
Thank you.